I'm holding down the shift bar. I learned this one the other day. I'm holding down the shift bar and then clicking on it, and it grabs the mat and moves it around for you, or puts it in a different place. Because I know I need to fix this. Get rid of,
Yeah.
going.
Apparently, the less points you have, the more smooth it will look.
Right, and each point is a point of data, so you'll be surprised. Some of the things you make will have, when there's curves and other things involved, it becomes quite data heavy, and that's why you do need there are specifications for the computer in order to run the software. It's on their website. Let's see, where are we? So how are we looking there? Oh, there's a couple down there, but I'm not going to take the time to mess with that for now. Okay. So there's your first part of your snowflake. That's great, but what about all those other cool parts? Let's do something. We're going to move on to creating layers. Just page 4. Next thing, oh, and by the way, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to I'm going to duplicate it, move it over to the side. I don't know why, but maybe I'll want to do something different with it. You don't know. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is make the layers. And where you're going to do this is in the offset panel, which is this little star on the right-hand side. And what the offset panel does is create a new shape that's just outside, or in the case of the internal offset, inside the shape that you have selected. So if I had a square, it would make a slightly bigger square. If I did an offset, and a slightly smaller one if I did an inset. But what I want to do is an offset, so I'm going to click on offset. I have this selected. You will be surprised how many times if you get into this, how you go offset and nothing happens, and you realize you have failed to select the item that you wanted to offset. Trust me, happens to the best of us. All right, now I want it wider than that, and I thought, well, since everything else is, you can use the slider. I like to use the keyboard because I find it easier. I'm going to make it the same width as my current my little snowflake in the middle. Now in here you'll see these small pieces. This is fine. These are a decent size, and you shouldn't have a problem cutting it out of paper or even vinyl if you wanted to do a vinyl one. Sometimes you will get really tiny ones in there. And so I'm going to demonstrate what you would do is if you wanted to get rid of these, because these are two separate shapes. Okay. I can drag this one away, and this is its own shape. But the problem is I can't take these out. For whatever reason, I decided I wanted to take them out. So what I have to do is I'm going to right click on this shape and release the compound path. And what that does is takes every little piece of a design and makes it into its own little piece. So now if I click off of this, I can click on each individual piece, and I can delete it or drag it away or do whatever I wanted to do. In the case of this one, if I took all of those out, I wouldn't need to do anything else, but I actually want to leave those in, so I'm going to do undo. If there's little pieces and the big piece that you want all together, you need to select them all. Try to make sure you don't get anything else. Right click on it again and make a compound path. And I'll show you, actually, it's better if I fill this in, and I'm just going to fill it in a dark color so you can sort of see what happens. When I release the compound path, each piece now becomes its own object. And so it is taken, except I had them all selected. Even if I remove that, there's no hole there anymore, because the only way it knew to make the hole was as a compound path with a design cut out of the middle of it. That's what happens. So I'm going to undo that. And actually, I'll just undo it. No, I didn't want to do that. Oh, and now I know I'm back. I know this is now a compound path because that's in there. But this is actually going to be my white layer, so I'm going to fill this with white. Okay. And just so you know, the red lines, as a reminder, are the cut lines. This is when I go to the send panel, this is where it's going to be cut. Now I don't need to put that over the top of it. It could be if I wanted to. Easiest thing to do. Try to line that up by yourself and it'll make you a little crazy. So I'm going to select those two items. And just so you know the difference, this is center to page. So both objects would be centered to the page. I just want them to center to each other. And there it's back. So, but I have a third layer I want to do. So I'm going to make sure that my outside layer is the one selected. I can tell that it is because if you look over here and there it looks blank, that's because it's white. If it was hash marked, I'd know it was not filled. If it was blue, I'd know, like if I select this, you're going to see the blue pop up here. It's like, no, I don't want to offset the blue. I want to offset the white. So I'm going to go back to the offset, this little star, and I'm just going to do the same exact thing again. I'm going to offset that, click the button. I'm going to tell it 0.25 and hit enter. And now I'm going to go over here. You can see, here's your hash marks. It tells me this is not filled. And I'm going to pick this sort of medium blue color. So that's it. You've just made a 3-layer snowflake. It's slow going when you first start and you'll make mistakes, but it's okay because it's just really fun and it makes something that I couldn't cut out by hand. I mean, I know there are very talented people in the world who could. I'm not one of them.
It's great. Hooray.
Like I said, yay, it's a snowflake. Now, I want to show you before. That's pretty much it, but let's go over where are we? Let's go here. Oh, I know what I want to talk about is cutting it out. And I'm gonna show you something on my desktop in just a minute. But before I do, so that snowflake that I showed everybody in the beginning, and I can do it again in a bit. This is how I cut it out: is I cut out 6x6 pieces of cardstock and placed them on my mat in the positions where these are set. So I made sure that my image was within a 6x6 area, and I put the light blue here, the white here, and the medium blue here. And then I could cut them out all at the same time. If, for example, I actually tried before I did it with plain cardstock, I tried to put glitter cardstock here. Glitter cardstock cuts differently than regular cardstock, and it wound up messing it up. So I just took that off and did a plain white cardstock with that. These are some other, shows you the layers. I found out, I didn't know this, that snowflakes are 6-sided. Occasionally you'll get one that's not. Sometimes you'll get a 12-sided one, and it's because the snowflakes collided and joined up together. So, but you don't have to you see a lot of 8-sided snowflakes. And but that was funny when I was on the website and learning about them. That's what I found out. Let's see, where are we? Oh, that's, yep, that's what the one I did. I'll zoom out here. I had a little fun. I had all kinds of fun.
Awesome.
I want to show you this one in particular. So that was with straight lines, which is great. This one, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what that winds up looking like. Sometimes, you try things out and they don't work too well. We've got time. We've got lots of time. We're gonna zoom in here a little bit. And let's see what happens when I'm going to weld that. I'm going to go over to my replicate panel. I'm going to rotate 2 copies. How about that? Look interesting. So I have to select all 3 of those. And now I'm going to weld that. Oh, here you go. You see those teeny tiny things in here?
Yeah, those will just be too difficult
We
to.
shoot up little holes. So again,
Yeah.
the instructions are on there. You right click on it, release the compound path. I then have to click off of it. Now these things I want to keep. And those I want to keep. It's these things. So I can click on that and I can hold down the shift key and I can just keep clicking and get it. And just, I'm going to go around a little circle here. It's not, as much as that box is going over the top of these other things, I haven't picked those. My computer's running a little slow, so I'm going to just stop there and I'm going to hit delete.
I'd be afraid to do that. I would know I'd hit one wrong thing and have to start over.
Yeah, and it didn't work. So whatever problem it was causing, my computer was feeling its age, let's say. But you can do that. You can select multiple ones. You can also, if you wanted to get rid of all of that, you could just drag over the top of it and select all of these shapes. But I don't want to do that. It just, and this is a good time, this to remind you, this is drag over a shape to zoom. So if I click on that, you see the little mouse with the magnifying glass, and I say, I really want to get in here so I can see all of this better. It's going to zoom into whoosh, whatever I just selected. Yeah, okay. Now I'm going to hold down the shift key. Yeah, I know. It has come to bite me. I'm going to hit delete, and it worked. So I'm going to
Zooming in
really
definitely
quick.
helps. Zooming in.
Oh my gosh, because some of these are teeny tiny, and I mean, it just helps you see what you're doing. Oh, didn't take that one out. Stop. And if you talk to your computer, it means that you're a smart person, because I read one time that if you talk to yourself, it's a sign of intelligence. When somebody starts talking back and there's nobody there, that's a different story.